Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. August 25th, 2023. We're pretty much at the end of the summer, getting there. Labor Day is around the corner here. And yeah, so kids are going back to school. And the record releases are about to ramp up again. So it's been a little slow in the last couple of weeks, and I have some news on that. So first of all, let me just jump in with new releases. I have some information about upcoming new releases and just some thoughts and musings and a recommendation. So, all right, let me get to it. So the first release, big release of the week, I guess you can call it sort of big, is the new Alice Cooper. You're like, the biggest release this week is Alice Cooper? Yeah, well, his last record did really well. This one is called Road. It is 13 dangerous new songs, and this vinyl actually comes with the exclusive DVD full show at Hellfest 2022. This is a black vinyl version, produced by Bob Ezrin. Still working with Bob. That's amazing. These guys are lifers. So there's that version. There's also this version, which is pretty much the same kind of deal, but this one is on limited blue marbled vinyl for a few dollars more. So I guess it just depends on you know, uh, how committed you are to Alice at this point. Um, yeah, like I said, I think the last one was received pretty well, and still at it, and arguably probably better or better off than a lot of other current bands are. So, another new release this week, Buck Meek, and this album is called Haunted Mountain. Buck, if you're familiar with the band Big Thief, Buck is a member of Big Thief, sort of alongside Adrian Lenker. And he does solo albums as well, and this is it's already being sort of well received. This is limited edition green vinyl. He's a pretty great singer songwriter, and yeah, this was recorded 2022 August, about a year ago at Sonic Ranch, and yeah, new Buck Meek. It's on 4AD Records, so which I think is Big Thief is signed to that label, and they've kind of exploded in the last couple years. I feel. Bebel Gilberto Joao, or is it Gilberto Joao, is the name of this album. Joao, I guess, being the homage to Joao Gilberto. Uh, she does a cover of Desafinado, of course. These are sort of like jazzy, modern jazzy takes on sort of jazz samba Brazilian music. So you're like, well, this is sort of like esoteric early in the video. I know I'm skipping around a lot today, but there really aren't a lot of new albums coming out this week. Mostly sort of like reissues and kind of interesting stuff. This one I'm very interested in. This is Spelling, with three L's, and this is her new album, Spelling in the Mystery School. Um, Her last record was one of my favorites of the year it came out. She's I was gonna say Oakland, California. Very sort of indebted to a Kate Bush kind of sound on that last record. A little bit of sort of the kind of witchiness aspect, like not bitchiness, witchiness. Anyway, this says a richly envisioned new versions of beloved songs from throughout her career, rendered in these studio recordings by the critically acclaimed band. Well, I think she has sort of an orchestral or chamber pop kind of side to her going now, but mixes it with electronics and band. This is a limited edition purple vinyl, and the famous producer Flood, who's worked with Nine Inch Nails and gosh, so many people. He said, "Thank goodness spelling has arrived like a witchy fairy godmother to bring some magic back to music." So, yeah. All right. So check that out. Guided by Voices, a reissue of self-inflicted Ariel nostalgia. I think this is one of their more sort of like critically acclaimed earlier things. Recorded on 8-track, Dayton, Ohio. I'm not sure what year, it doesn't say. I know it's quite old. You would have to ask a Guided by Voices fan, and frankly, I mean, I don't have anything against them, but they have so many records. I'm like one of those people that I love bands with big catalogs and stuff. I mean, yeah. 25 albums, great. I don't know, Guided by Voices, it's got to be like 60, 70, 80, 100? I don't know. Robert Pollard doesn't sleep. All right, let's see. Another new reissue. This is a greatest hits Alanis Morissette collection. This has been out on CD before. I don't know if it's ever been on vinyl, not to my knowledge. Oh, it's his first time on vinyl. Well, it helps to read. Limited clear vinyl. And yeah, I mean, you kind of say to yourself, well, is this necessary? I have Jagged Little Pill, right? Which, by the way, has been sort of out of print and out of stock for a little while. Well, this has more songs than Jagged Little Pill, and it sort of kind of excerpts a lot of the hits. So you got Thank You is the first song, which was from, I think, her second big breakthrough. The Supposed Informer, I can't even remember the name of that album, had a lot of words. So it starts with that, then Head Over Feet, 8 Easy Steps, Everything, Crazy, Ironic, Prince's Familiar, MTV Unplugged, You Learn, Simple Together, You Ought to Know, That I Would Be Good. That was a great song that I think was later. Sister Blister, Hands Clean, that's a little later. Mercy from the Prayer Cycle, Still from the Dogma soundtrack. Uninvited from City of Angels soundtrack. That song is amazing. It's a great song. Let's Do It, Let's Fall in Love from the De Lovely soundtrack. Hand in My Pocket and So Unsexy, Vancouver Sessions 2004. So there's a lot here that, doesn't necessarily replicate stuff on. It's not so Jagged Little Pill centric that you can't sort of like enjoy it for what it is. So, all right, let's see. There's an interesting series of reissues that came out this week. I'm just gonna like go through these first. So, and there's a couple that I didn't order. So, if you don't see Gerald Levert, I mean, don't take it personally. I am probably can order those things if you want them, but I just sort of focused on the ones that I knew were gonna sell fairly quickly. These are all about $20, and so they're not sort of audiophile pressings like some of or I don't even know if I would consider the original pressings audiophiles or the reissues, but they're usually a little pricier, and there's a little more put into the package. These are kind of like sort of greatest hits kind of things. Notorious B.I.G. And so for like $20, 21, you get Juicy, Papa, Warning, One More Chance, Stay With Me, Who Shot Ya, Hypnotize, Mo Money, Mo Problems, Notorious Thugs, Going Back to Cali, and Sky's the Limit. So they're kind of like it's sort of like greatest hits records. This one I think looks great. En Vogue, sort of a greatest hits. This has Hold On, Lies, Don't Go, My Lovin', Never Gonna Get It, Giving Him Something He Can Feel, Free Your Mind, Give It Up, Turn It Loose, Don't Let Go, Love. Love that song. Whatever, and Too Gone, Too Long. So, and it kind of gives like a little bit of a bio, and it's kind of a neat little series that Rhino is sort of done here. Rat, I mean, going another direction. This has Round and Round, Wanted Man, Lack of Communication, Back for More, Lay It Down, You're in Love, Slip of the Lip, Way Cool Junior, I Want a Woman, and Giving Yourself Away. So, and some of these artists are kind of like, people that you might you might not necessarily want to own whole albums of them, but you remember their hits and you sort of want those. Montrose, going back a little bit here, Sammy Hagar, early years, Rock the Nation, Bad Motor Scooter, Space Station, Rock Candy, I Got the Fire, Paper Money. Yeah, so there's Montrose, Todd Rundgren. I don't know if there really is there a Todd Rundgren greatest hits. I don't know. This is kind of like, I mean, there is on CD, but I haven't seen one on vinyl. This has, we gotta get you a woman. Be nice to me. I saw the light. Couldn't I just tell you? Hello, it's me. Just one victory. A dream goes on forever. Love of the common man. Can we still be friends? And bang on the drum all day. I mean, it's kind of got most of the essential singles, I suppose. Nothing like in the last, 20 years or so, for 30 years. Gordon Lightfoot, who passed away recently. You can get a lot of Gordon's albums used on vinyl. We have them all the time, but this has If You Could Read My Mind, Summer Side of Life, Beautiful, Sundown, Carefree Highway, Rainy Day People, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, Daylight Katie, The Circle is Small, and Baby Step Back. So about 10 songs on each of those, and they're kind of nice little collections. Okay, continuing with the Aerosmith reissues, we get Rock in a Hard Place this week. These are all remastered from the original master tapes. This starts with Jailbait, Lightning Strikes, and Bitches Brew. We were supposed to get 9 Lives this week also, and that didn't ship for some reason. And Draw the Line has not been reissued yet either, and that's scheduled for September 22nd. So maybe 9 Lives got bumped, or there was some issue. I don't know why it didn't arrive, but anyway, Rockin' a Hard Place is here, and then all the early albums are out already. Self-titled Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic, Get Your Wings, all that stuff. And people say they sound great. So, Kurt Vile, Walking on Pretty Days. This album's been out on vinyl before, and we sold quite a few of them. This is actually a 10th anniversary special edition. Hard to believe, but yeah, it came out about the time that we opened the store that year, and it's on limited edition yellow vinyl. This was sort of a famous wall in Philadelphia that was painted, that featured a bunch of like information, song titles and stuff like that, or stuff relating to Kurt. And then I think it got painted over by accident or something. I can't remember, but there's some sort of issue with that. So I don't know if it's still there, but Kurt's a Philadelphia native, and that was a really big album for him. So, oh gosh, I love this so much. It's hard for me to even like put it into words. Sun's Signature, pressed on marble yellow vinyl. So this was a record store day thing, so it's already been out, but this is the first time it's been on colored vinyl, because that was a black vinyl version. Sun's Signature is Elizabeth Fraser of Cocteau Twins and her current partner, his name escapes me all of a sudden, but he's a member of Massive Attack, the touring band, and sort of a studio musician with them as well. Not like the official 3D or the group itself, but kind of extended group. Anyway, they sort of met, I'm assuming like collaborating, because she sang with Massive Attack and then has since gone out on tour with them. And so anyway, this is such a beautiful, it's an EP. There's 5 tracks on it, and the first 4 feature sort of kind of dreamy progressive rock with her very like light lilty vocals. They're just so airy and beautiful, and they are, I believe they are sort of English this time. You kind of understand what she's saying. I don't know, I guess they always sort of were English when she was in Cocteau Twins. That's the theory anyway, but many times they were hard to understand. I think really only Four Calendar Cafe is a pretty intelligible album, but it doesn't really matter because her voice is so incredible. But anyway, it's got these four songs that feature sort of like, I want to say like orchestral pop, but there's a lot of kind of like oboe and cello and stuff sort of in the mix. And make lovely the day. The last song is very short, sort of almost like Shakespearean kind of, just a beautiful thing. And I remember the first time I listened to this, I sat in front of the stereo and tears started streaming down my face because I think it's such a like removed from the commercialism of music. And my thought was, this is so beautiful. Just play this at my funeral one day. Just that beautiful. I will also say Steve Hackett from Genesis, early Genesis years, a guitarist, makes some guest appearances on there to play some lovely filigreed kind of guitar work. So check that out. I think there's a CD of that as well. That's a double CD or double length. It hadn't been on CD before, and the second half is remixes of the original songs. It would be nice to see them do a whole album. Apparently, these songs were recorded over the course of 15 to 20 years. So it's not like they're in any rush to put stuff out. And she basically is semi retired from the music business, at least from being in rock bands. So, yeah. Another great reissue, the Ocean Blue Davy Jones Locker. This is an album that they did around 2000. Ocean Blue are from Hershey, Pennsylvania. They get referred to a lot as the American Smiths. Not nearly as big, but yeah, they have very kind of like light, jangly, beautiful songs. And this was sort of like a little bit more of a later career as they were moving into something else. Don Paris from Innocence Mission worked a little bit on that. Another Pennsylvania band. So let's see. Pierce the Veil, Selfish Machines, reissue of a Pierce the Veil record. These guys I get a lot of requests for from like kids in their late teens, early 20s. Yeah, so, and this is a reissue. I'm not sure what year this came out, but it's black vinyl, but it's sort of one of the more heavily sought after ones. I think that'll be around for a little while. Let's see. Zach Bryan, country guy, Summertime Blues. This is a live record, or this, I'm not really sure. I don't know much about him. All I know is that his last record sold really well, and it had like 35 songs on it. 34, I don't remember. It was like a triple album, and it was selling well. And then the next thing, Morgan Wallen has to put out another triple. It's like these guys are just trying to outdo themselves with the number of songs on their records, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, Zach Bryan has got a song called Motorcycle Drive-By and Oklahoma Smoke Show, and yeah, Summertime Blues is the name of it. I don't know if that's a cover or not. All right, and another sort of, we're getting into the sort of, wow, Belinda Carlisle, Kismet. Belinda being longtime lead singer of the Go-Go's, had a long time solo career. This is a 5-track EP that she worked on with none other than Diane Warren, who, wrote I Don't Want to Miss a Thing for Aerosmith, and oh my gosh, she write My Heart Will Go On? I can't remember. I think she did. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, but Diane has written a million hit songs for a million people, and I believe she also wrote Heaven is a Place on Earth for Belinda. That's I could be wrong about that too, but I know that she's written songs for Belinda before. So this features a Big Big Love and 4 other songs. I guess they weren't really committed to doing an entire album together, but this is pressed on purple vinyl, new EP from the Grammy-nominated superstar. Has she not won a Grammy yet? That's kind of odd. I would have thought. Anyway, yeah, so there's been a whole series of these. I haven't really been showing them um, because I feel like a lot of people from the back in the day had them. Barry Manilow, this one's for you. Barry's out on tour right now, rocking it. Still apparently putting on a great show. And this is a limited edition, 2,000 copies on orange and black marble vinyl. They're numbered, and this one features Looks Like We Made It and Weekend in New England, not to mention this one's for you, and Daybreak and Jump Shout Boogie. A lot of hits on this one. Yeah, I think this is maybe the third Barry that's come out. So if you're interested, let me know. Let's see. Oh, this is heavy. Tyler the Creator, Call Me If You're Lost, the estate sale. Tyler has, this album came out a year and a half ago, and it's done very well, and this is like a triple album version of it. They added, so it's the original album plus 8 additional songs, 3 LPs on Geneva blue colored vinyl, which I'm assuming is this color that he's wearing, and the cover's also embossed, which is very nice. So and it's pricey, but not like crazy expensive. Not, it's under $50. So all right. Thing is so heavy. Uh, One thing I gotta mention here, I don't really talk about this much, but records have gotten so heavy, all these 180 gram things. And if you're like me, where you're sort of lifting heavy records all day, I felt something snap in this arm like about a month ago. And yeah, since then I've had to get an injection for tendonitis. And it's, yeah, I've been doing yard work because it's summer, but I think it's mainly from lifting heavy records in the store, and I'm not a spring chicken. So anyway, these things are going to happen. So yeah, the pain is real every time I lift one of these things, and popping the Motrin. Just, a cautionary tale. Don't just lift a lot of heavy records all at once without thinking about, oh yeah, these are heavy, because they will wear you down over time. So, all right. I said I was going to mention a few other things. New releases coming up. So, let's see. Next week is a big release week. It is September 1st, and we're kind of heading into Labor Day, but there's a lot of stuff coming out. I felt like August sort of started sort of busy, and then it sort of tailed off. So things are really starting to heat up. So September 1st, we finally get the new Sigur Rós on vinyl and CD, which I think it premiered about 2 months, maybe 6 weeks ago on streaming. So it will finally be available. The new Slow Dive record also comes out next week, and I think that's very heavily anticipated with people who like shoegaze, that kind of dream pop stuff. The new Pretenders album, which was pushed back also from around late June, finally is coming out. REM's Reveal, which and Accelerate, those two were supposed to be out originally, I think this week or by now, and then they got bumped a little bit. There's a live Neil Young Odeon Budokan, and that is supposed to be coming out next week. Not like he hasn't had enough to keep you busy this year. There are a couple of Blue Note classics next week from Wayne Shorter and Big John Patton. And the Tom Waits series of reissues, the Island Years, kind of starts next week with the CDs for the first 3, which are Swordfish Trombones, Rain Dogs, and what's the third one? Frank's Wild Years. So those are next week. Now, those will all be coming on vinyl a little bit later. So on the 8th of September, I've mentioned before, we have Olivia Rodrigo, and then the Fleetwood Mac and Doors live albums. Also, the new Royal Blood comes out that day. September 15th is the Who's Next box sets and different sort of versions of that. September 22nd are those first three Tom Waits that I mentioned on vinyl, which I think Swordfish Trombones has been sort of available, but this is a brand new reissue, a remaster done by Waits. And so those first three albums, also a replacements box set for their album Tim, and the new Kylie Minogue. And then moving to September 29th, there's the brand new Wilco. And I think this is great because they're not making us wait 6 months for the vinyl this time. And they're putting out the vinyl and the CD at the same time. So that's great. There will also be a new Animal Collective, and Grateful Dead's Wake of the Flood is being getting its sort of a reissued remaster situation. Then you kind of move towards October 6th. That's the next set of Tom Waits. And that is Bone Machine and Black Rider are getting vinyl and CD reissues. So, and I know those vinyl reissues for Bone Machine are very highly sought after and have been for years. And then a couple things to mention. October 22nd, 27th. October 27th is Taylor Swift 1989 Taylor's version. So mark your calendars for that. Not like Speak Now didn't just come out, Taylor's version, and that's been doing very well. But so if you're going to save buying records for the kids or whatever till Christmas and they want Taylor Swift, you're going to have to get two Taylor versions to catch up. Let's see. Rolling Stones are supposed to be announcing their new album. They've already announced it, I think. It's like Hackney Diamonds. We're just waiting on a release date for that. Hopefully the new Peter Gabriel gets an announcement soon. I mean, he's been sort of dripping and drabbing like song after song every time there's a full moon this year. So looking for that. Would love to see The Cure announce their new album since the tour is over, but I don't know. They were playing 4 new songs on the tour, or 5, and they were all incredible, like really really quality stuff. And today is, well, it's August 24th. We're supposed to be getting a new announcement of Prince Diamonds and Pearls and Love Symbol box set. If it hasn't been announced already, it should be within the next 24 hours. Looks like possibly a November release for that, and it looks like something like 14 records in that box set. Probably a huge $300 behemoth. I'm not really sure, but the last one was pretty big and heavy, the Sign of the Times box. So it's been a while. It's been like 3 or 4 years since that box set came out now. I think with all the legal wranglings going on in the Prince estate, things have kind of slowed down, and they're just sort of starting up again. We recently got a couple reissues for Love Sexy and Come. So and then I think next week or the week after, maybe even next week, we're getting reissues for Prince's Batman soundtrack and the Graffiti Bridge soundtrack as well. So they are filling in the gaps, finally. Guy's been dead for almost 7 years, so yeah, 6 years now. Crazy. Anyway, so let's see. My recommend today, I've kind of recommended this guy a little bit in the video where I did the 25 albums that I kind of grab when I just want to hear something. And when I see records like this just sitting around, it kind of pains me because I feel like maybe this is just a case of nobody in America really knows who this guy is. I mean, some people do, but not a lot. So I feel like I got to show this. Divine Comedy is my recommendation this week, and this is Charmed Life, the best of Divine Comedy. Divine Comedy is Neil Hannon. He's a British Irish singer-songwriter, and if you're really into like Scott Walker, which I sort of have also recommended in one of my videos recently, he's sort of a modern sort of equivalent. This is a double album, 24 songs on vinyl. He put this out a couple years ago, last year, 2022. And I believe the CD even had like extra songs, but this has the download card for the super extra bonus album, which features another like 10 extra songs. The guy is like a songwriting machine. I think he's one of the best songwriting, like if you're talking about songwriting as a craft, an art, I think he's really one of the best modern ones, or ones of like my generation that we've had. Um, Even though he might not be well known, and I would say his earlier stuff was very kind of quirky, and then very much fell into like the tradition of Britpop kind of stuff in the '90s. I mean, he really kind of started as like sort of indebted to the Smiths, and then drifted away from that and became more sort of like in the Britpop scene. And then since then, he just is such a comfortable, writes such comfortable music. And it's so well done. And his voice is maybe not as big and operatic sounding as Scott's, but his melodies kind of sit in that same sort of thing. And he also, I would say, is not necessarily as provocative as Scott when it comes to like doing Jacques Brel stuff like that. It's more all Neil, which there's some great stuff. He writes so much from like personal experiences and family and life, and I mean some of the songs are sort of reflective of his marriage or his kids or parents, and observational too. A lot of observational songs, but this actually begins with the song "Charmed Life," which was the one that ended the album that I mentioned in my previous video. So he sort of flipped that. And then my other sort of favorite song from that album that I talked about before, "Our Mutual Friend," is at the same position in this album, where it's like the beginning of the second half. But this has sort of cheeky songs, like you get something like "Something for the Weekend," "National Express," "Generation Sex," "How Can You Leave Me on My Own," "You Took Your Daddy's Car and Wrapped It Around a Tree," stuff like that. Stuff that's a little bit heavier, like "You'll Never Work in This Town Again," which is a more recent song, kind of about like like the sort of situation with economic pressures and work pressures. "Absent Friends," the song about people that have gone from your life that were meaningful to you. "Lady of a Certain Age" is sort of about woman who's like aging and trying to hang on to youth a little bit. "Norman and Norma" is a great song, sort of about a couple who's growing old together. And then they're just sort of like lighter songs, like "At the Indie Disco" is kind of funny. "Songs of Love" is just one of the most charming, beautiful like melodies. "Perfect Love Song" is another one. "I Love Tonight We Fly" is a great ender on this album. Just kind of like plays everything out in a kind of quick marching kind of rhythm. Um, Actually, a lot of songs in the last side. "Everybody Knows Except You" is kind of like one of those sad, like, oh, it's just like a broken heart kind of song. Like you're pining for someone and they're just not paying attention to you at all. "To the Rescue" is a great song about like, wanting to be there for somebody when they need it, when they need you the most. And so, anyway, just so many quality songs, and this really is just the tip of the iceberg, but it's a great introduction to Neil. If you haven't heard that or heard him, check him out. It's kind of hard to say where to start. Certain artists, like I could point out, like say like, oh, go look at this on YouTube or go watch this video, And I think in his case, it's almost best to just listen to a best of and not be distracted by the video and stuff like that, because I think sometimes video can take your mind to a spot that uh, you would have been much more clear headed about had you not been distracted by what was on the screen. And maybe that's a problem with YouTube and videos and such. So um, I was going to say, so really quickly, I said I would just make some comments. And so in the last couple of days, I thought, I haven't watched the first video that I ever made before. And I went back and watched it. It's only about 15 minutes long, so much shorter than this. And there were some awkward things about it for sure. I got very personal with like things going on at the store during COVID, my family situation. I can say that my wife Erin is still dealing with her health battles all the time, and certain things have actually not even just sort of plateaued, but maybe are not as easy as they were. At the same time, she did finally get approved for disability, which was great, which took 6 years. Just in case any of you are out there fighting the fight, it is not easy when you're up against a system that is throwing roadblocks all the time. Anyway, but yes, so she hasn't worked here for longer than half of the store's existence. But anyway, that being said, I just want to say, we've come a long way personally and emotionally and whatever in the last 3 years, 3.5 years since that video. It's been interesting to see the sort of roller coaster that being in a retail situation puts you on. I felt like at the beginning of that, and I'm sure that this is something that I'll be working out over time, and probably having to write a book about it at some point. But it seemed like there were a lot of people that were, when we first were all in COVID, and it was tough getting music and stuff like that. I was doing really whatever I could to keep the store afloat, putting myself out there, and um, at risk of health issues and whatever. And but we made it through that, and people were generally very supportive. I have a lot of people who came out of the woodwork that I'd never had before, and that was great. And it seems like in the past 6 months to a year or a year and a half, a lot of those people have sort of evaporated and gone back to their way of life as it was beforehand. And while I appreciate all of the stuff that they did to help us get through that, it's kind of sad to see them go, because then you sort of start to feel like, was I just taken advantage of? I know they were supporting me. So it kind of goes both ways. You get a lot of mixed emotions about that sort of thing. In the meantime, we've gotten a whole sort of like other group of people that have come in that are also very supportive now and have kind of bridged a gap. And I even had someone last week who hadn't been in since 2019, and had gone through a lot of like personal issues, and so they kind of missed the whole COVID thing with us. And in a sense, I'm glad to see them back, and in another sense, I was like, "Oh, where were you when we needed you the most?" So it's sort of like just a overwhelming like wave of roller coaster emotions that if you're someone who deals with the public on a very like personal level, that is very kind of difficult to communicate, all of the different ins and outs of that. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to like reminisce a little bit about that, because as we're sort of going into a season where I had someone else who I just spoke with, who had just been dealing with COVID again. It's still out there, but I think, thank God it doesn't seem to be like killing people the way it was. And I'm sure we're headed into another season of possible vaccinations and stuff like that, it seems. But Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to those of you who have stuck by us, and the new people too who are interested in like supporting this channel, or even you don't have to necessarily support the store, but support the channel and spread the word that we're here. It means a lot. I don't know how many other record store owners out there are saying things like that. There are a few, I've seen some, but it's it's been so different being sort of on the receiving end on this side of the counter than maybe sort of just out in the general public. A lot of people talk about how they had a lot of time to themselves and got into like know themselves and do all of these things that they never thought they could do because they were nesting and buying records. Case in point, listening to music at home, and I sort of had the opposite experience because I feel like I got busier than ever, and now it's sort of like I'm still busy, and there's a whole new group of people buying music, but it's trying to figure out like now where do I stand in all of this as well? So maybe this is all something that needs to be worked out with a therapist. I don't know, guys. This is like I'm just basically like ba 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 ba, and you're listening to it, and also, yeah, I know it's got to be completely entertaining on the other side of the screen, right? A little freaky that I'm in your living room talking about this, but so thank you again to those of you. I really want to make that clear, and I really appreciate all the support that you've given and continue to give, and hopefully those people that sort of like walked away just have other things going on and will eventually come back. I don't know. So what can I say? It's human nature, right? Hey, take care. Thanks again. Thanks for joining me. I know this was a sort of light on new releases today, but there's always something, and there's a lot that's come out and a lot to look forward to. Peace. Have a great weekend. See you next time.